What is up, guys? Wrestling Premier is here. It goes without saying that this title reign really made me see John Cena in a different light. Before this, I saw him as a one-trick pony, a guy who knew that he didn't have to adapt in order to entertain the crowd. All he had to do was raise his hand in the air, and the fans knew exactly what he was going to do. It doesn't mean his matches were boring, but you knew what you were going to get from a John Cena match. But in 2015, all of that changed. He added so many moves to his moveset in order to stop the 5 moves of doom claim, I guess. In this video, I cover John Cena's remarkable United States Championship reign. For me to cover this one, we gotta go back to the time where the United States Championship was nothing more than just a title. Obviously, that's the case right now, but I want to discuss where that title was before Cena held it. But before I do, make sure you grab some popcorn, fire up WWE 2K16, and play some Fetty Wap. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I'm almost at 40k. I'm almost there. It will really help me if you just click that subscribe button. It's as simple as that. Okay, the United States Championship over the last decade was and is, in a way, keyword in a way, don't call me out on it, an unprestigious title. It could be a prestigious title at a moment's notice like that, but eventually it falls into the wrong hands and it's back to where it was. The belt does have a rich and storied history under the WCW and NWA name, but under WWE, it's filled with ups and downs. Now, looking back at the history of the United States Championship, I can only give you a handful of memorable title reigns. Eddie Guerrero, the first champion. John Cena. Chris Benoit, best US champ in my opinion. MVP The Miz. Kofi Kingston's. Now yes, it could easily gain prestige, and looking at the last couple of champs, it does look like a valuable title. But the title itself doesn't have many memorable moments. To some, not me, the US title is a joke. So back in 2015, WWE decided to have John Cena win the title and make the title relevant and prominent. So basically, now you understand where the US title was back in 2015. This is also the time period where they decided to have Daniel Bryan win the IC title and make that title prestigious once again. Okay, here we go. At WrestleMania 31, Rusev defended the United States Championship against John Cena. He had this extraordinary entrance that involved a damn tank. He had a tank for his entrance at WrestleMania 31, and if that doesn't scream superstar, I don't know what will. Also, a little side note, Rusev at this point was undefeated. He had yet to lose, so this victory could have done wonders for his career. But WWE had other plans. About the match itself, not bad. If I remember correctly, this was the match Cena debuted the Springboard Stunner, and Cena won. Nonetheless, it was seen as a way of making the title prestigious once again, just like I said earlier. So, this victory, well, made sense. Although Rusev, looking back, he should have won this one. If Rusev won this one, he would have been a certified main eventer in WWE. Also, the vibe this WrestleMania gave, loved it. It's my favorite WrestleMania of the past decade. Anyways, Rusev could still be salvaged, right? Right? Before we get to that, John thought it was a bright idea in storyline to have this weekly open challenge to give the guys in the back a chance to prove that they were capable of hanging in there with the champ. At this point, the fans weren't really fond of him, and the crowd was so damn loud, the post-WrestleMania crowd. John Cena sucks, John Cena sucks. Anyways, Cena came out and he sucked up to the crowd who wasn't really having it. Cena said that the fans deserve a championship match right here and right now. He challenged anyone from the back to come out to the ring and face him. So who was his first challenger? Well, it was Dean Ambrose. The post-WrestleMania crowd was clearly hyped for this one, and the match was obviously good. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Obviously, Cena won this one, but not before shaking Dean's hand. I mean, he wasn't going to lose it the first night he started the challenge. Over the next couple of weeks, John Cena's opponents were the likes of Stardust, Kane, and Wade Barrett in his home country. By the way, Stardust's song slaps. The crowd was really excited to see Bad News, and as for Kane, well, he challenged on 420, I guess? I can't really say anything special about it. Cena continued to show off some of his new moves, and he continued winning up until Extreme Rules when he was set to defend the title against Rusev in a Russian chain match. As for how that match went, well, I'm not going to describe the match. I'm just going to show you this picture. That's all I have to show you in order to describe what transpired during that bout. Seriously though, as good as the US title challenge thing was, it really came at the expense of Rusev. Rusev, it kind of hurt him. Not kind of, it did hurt him. It was expected. Anyways, Rusev believed that he didn't lose the match, and so he got his rematch at Payback, and it was an I Quit match. Cena continued the open challenge thing, facing a NXT star on the May 4th, 2015 episode of Raw. Okay, this one was really good. So Cena was out here to challenge anyone from the back, and all of a sudden, Bret Hart came out. What the hell? A little side note, Bret Hart really hates Goldberg. He wasn't here to fight, though. He was here to introduce a great wrestler, and all of a sudden, Heath Slater came out. It obviously wasn't him, as Bret decked him with a mic, preventing him from accepting the challenge. Hart then introduced the Montreal native, and the crowd was so damn loud, and out he came. Oh man, Sami Zayn. He was so damn hyped to be here that he dislocated his shoulder. As for the match, this one was fun as hell. I really enjoyed watching it, and I remember Zayn kicked out of the AA. Despite losing though, Zayn looked good in defeat. Cena endorsed Sami Zayn, and it made him look legit in the fans' eyes. I mean, he was already legit to the Montreal faithful, but for everyone watching on TV that had no idea who Sami Zayn was, yeah, he was legit. Following this, Cena faced Neville, and damn did that guy look good. He was the man in 2015, and I felt like he could have been a big star in WWE, but it's just a shame that it never happened. Throughout the match, Neville was very resilient, and he actually had the match won, but then Rusev ruined everything. He laid out Neville, and he locked Cena in the accolade. As for that payback match, well, there was a 0% chance Cena would say I quit, in my eyes. Like, I'd compare it to the streak ending. It's nearly impossible. Cena humiliated Rusev, but it wasn't he who quit. It was Lana, and this basically destroyed Rusev, and he never recovered. Yeah, sure, if WWE really wanted to, they would have re-established him, but they didn't feel like it after this feud. So yes, in my eyes, I believe John Cena buried Rusev. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Did John Cena bury Rusev? I mean, think about it. Rusev before Cena, great. Rusev after Cena, not so good. As for the US Open Challenge, it continued. The next night on Raw, Cena was happy to see the crowd do the usual serenade. You know, the John Cena sucks. And when his challenger came out, it was the NXT champion, Kevin Owens. Seriously, 2015 KO was wild. I heard of the things Kevin Steen did, but KO 2015, best version in WWE. Owens said some stuff about Sami Zayn and about how he injured him, and Cena responded stating that KO shouldn't call the fans a waste of time. US champ then tried bestowing some veteran advice when Owens stopped him right there. He let Cena know that he's been doing this longer than him, and he shouldn't dare giving him an advice. As for Cena, he was ready to go at it. Owens did want some, but he didn't want to get some tonight. And when he does fight Cena, it's going to be on his terms, and he's gonna realize, well, we didn't get to hear what he's gonna say because he attacked Cena and delivered a pop-up powerbomb. Owens then stepped on the United States Championship, showing just what he thinks of that title. Shortly afterwards, the match was made for Elimination Chamber. John Cena versus Kevin Owens. So before that match, John Cena still had to defend the US title against a mystery opponent. The mystery opponent, well, someone from the Entourage cast? So is it E that's taking the challenge or Johnny Drama? Because Drama has a big mouth and he's pretty arrogant. Seriously though, it was Zack Ryder. So now Ryder's got the chance to rejuvenate his career by beating the same man that was there when his career started to fall. Once again, the match was good. Ryder was pretty comfortable out there, and he looked good, but obviously he lost. At one point, he went for the 450, but it didn't work out for him, and despite some interference from Johnny Drama, he lost. Cena and the four best friends raced Zack Ryder's hand, and all of a sudden, Kevin Owens from out of nowhere hit a pop-up powerbomb. Once again, he hoisted the NXT Championship in the air, and he stepped right on the US title. As for their Elimination Chamber match, sublime, superb, amazing, entertaining, match of the night, contender for WWE's match of the year. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I relished it. Owens was out here to prove he wasn't a rookie. He was out here to show that he was the real deal. Both men played their roles to perfection. Owens dished out everything. Even tried one of those springboard moonsaults. And sure, Cena moved out of the way, but he gets an A for effort. Kevin Owens kicked out of the AA, and the moment he finally hit the pop-up powerbomb, it got him the win. And not only that, it was a clean victory. Freaking John Cena lost clean in 2015. Like, how many guys that were heels actually beat John Cena before this? I can't exactly think of one. Maybe Umaga did in a non-title match on Raw. And yeah, I can't think of many of them. Please comment down below a heel that beat John Cena clean before 2015, please. And I want it to be like during the Super Cena run. Anyways, I didn't even entertain the thought of this. Like, sure, Owens wins, but maybe in unclean fashion. But they actually went through with it, and Kevin Owens was a made man due to this victory. Like I said, it was ridiculous to see Kevin Owens, a heel, beat John Cena clean. Eventually, the sequel was made for Money in the Bank. Story of this one, Owens thinks Cena's time is up, and Cena was looking to prove KO wrong. Owens for the United States Championship. As for this one, I'd say it's slightly better. Cena was hitting some new moves in order to beat Kevin Owens. KO himself hit a modified codebreaker, and it was a very tremendous match. It was filled with some bizarre sequences like the sunset flip powerbomb that he almost botched. And what got Cena the win was the springboard stunner in the AA. Overall, if I had to choose one match from KO and Cena's feud, I recommend you watch this one. If you want the match that has pure drama and story and action, this one. Owens was disappointed at the results, but Cena was looking to raise his hand. He did, and then KO decided to kick Cena in the groin and deliver the powerbomb on the apron. Damn, I haven't seen that one in a while. KO then took the US title with him as Cena was being attended to. He posed with it before throwing it back to the champ, and so at this point, it was clear that there was going to be a third match, but before that happened, John Cena's US Open Challenge continued. On the June 29, 2015 episode of Raw, Kevin Owens brought out a mystery opponent for John Cena. If you know about this match, enough said, but for those of you that don't, before this match, Cesaro's tag team partner, Tyson Kidd, was out indefinitely with a neck injury, and he eventually unfortunately retired. So Cesaro was just in limbo until he returned, which he didn't, sadly. And during this match, Cesaro showed off his strength, and so did Cena. The US champion managed to keep up with the Swiss Superman, and it was all going good, and it seemed like this could be Cesaro's night, but KO interfered to cause the DQ. His reasoning, well, if there's anyone that's taken the title from Cena, it should be him. DQ, finish aside, amazing match, and I believe this was the start of Cesaro's push. Now at this point, I believed it was going to be Owens who was taking the title from Cena, and then I was certain of it when he lost the title to Finn at Beast in the East. Who remembers that event? Like, that was pretty cool. He had an awesome match with KO, and it seemed like he was officially on the main roster. As for Cena, he still had to continue the US challenge. As for his next challenger, Kevin Owens? Nope. Cesaro came out and he put KO in his place before declaring himself the challenger for the title tonight. That match the previous week basically turned Cesaro face and he started to connect with the crowd. As for this match, I'd say it was better than the last one. They main evented Raw, the crowd was once again into it, Cesaro showed that he could be a top player, and if I'm going to be honest, I never really liked Cesaro before this match, but then again, before 2015, I didn't really care about wrestlers that just knew how to wrestle. After watching those NXT matches and US Open Challenge bouts, I began liking the matches more than the promos, and so watching Cesaro go out there and just tear the house down made me believe that this guy could be like a top guy. Not main event or anything like that, you know. Anyways, the match was really entertaining, and it showed just how much Cena's changed in the last year. It took a Avalanche AA for Cena to get the victory. KO tried attacking Cena after the match, but the champ thwarted the attack and hit an AA. As for Cena's next challenger for the US title, it was Rusev. He had to beat both KO and Cesaro in a triple threat match in order to get the opportunity. As for this one, it ended in DQ as KO once again interfered and he ruined Rusev's chances. Why? Well, no one will take away the title from Cena except for me. As for the rubber match at Battleground, good. It was certainly the weakest of the three matches, but I felt like they delivered. Like I said previously, going into this one, I expected Owens to come out victorious in not so clean fashion, but that wasn't what happened. Instead, Owens tapped out. Like, I really thought he was gonna win. After this, KO was a mid-carder to upper mid-carder, but if he did win this one, maybe he could have been so much bigger. Do you guys think this was a burial? Comment down below. To me, no. But I do realize that Owens could have been a much more prominent star if he beat Cena twice. I mean, he was Intercontinental Champion later on, but if he beat Cena twice, like, what can I say? Maybe he would have won a world title earlier on. Now that Cena was done with KO, it was time to tear down what the Architect had been building for 4 months. On the July 20th, 2015 episode of Raw, Seth Rollins came out and he began bragging about how he's still the champion due to what happened last night and Brock Lesnar and whatnot. This led to the US champion John Cena coming out to the ring. Rollins said something about Cena placating to the audience by defending the title and how he's sucking up to them because they hate him. And he called himself the real champion in WWE when John Cena called him a joke. Cena challenged Rollins to a fight, but the Architect obviously walked away. Cena even said that the man makes the title, not the title makes the man. As for the following week, Seth Rollins claimed he'll go down as one of the greatest champions in history. Cena heard this and he challenged Seth Rollins to a title match. The man demanded that Cena shut the hell up and he mentioned that he's holding the WWE title, not the United States Championship. Stephanie then got involved and she teased a WWE title match between the two, but then she said no to the title match. Triple H instead booked Cena in a US title match against Seth Rollins for the main event. That one was fun. I remember watching it at the time and really enjoying it. The match though is most well known for Seth Rollins breaking John Cena's nose. Cena would make Rollins tap out despite this to retain his title, and I do remember at the time thinking that maybe Rollins was gonna capture the title. Now at this point, Seth Rollins was booked to be a chump champ. Like, we all know he can deliver, but WWE didn't want him to win matches clean for some reason. He was already liked for all the ridiculous stuff he did in the ring, and I don't think it would have made a difference if Justin Bieber won matches clean. He was already liked regardless, that's what I'm trying to say. Wouldn't have changed the thing. Anyways, heading into SummerSlam, Rollins wanted to prove that he's the very best champion, while Cena was looking to capture his 16th title, so the match was made for the event. John Cena versus Seth Rollins for the WWE and United States Championship. At the time, I remember some people were joking about how the US title at this point was more valuable than the WWE title. So for that SummerSlam match, banger. It's my favorite match to come out of this title reign. I did love those Owens matches, but maybe, Just maybe it's the atmosphere that puts this match ahead of those matches. Seth Rollins wore that white attire, which would have suited him as a babyface, and it puts a smile on my face looking back at that summer. He was really on fire despite the finishes of those matches. He had that little cackle, that little smirk on his face. Everything was perfect about his character. The match itself, really tremendous. I watched it recently, and I believe this was the match that saw Rollins debut that Superplex Falcon Arrow. They were calling him Power Ranger and CrossFit Jesus, and what about this moment? Brutal. Oh, and this one, he countered the AA into a drop kick, he hit the AA himself, he hit a frog splash in his moveset, like God. All in all, a very fun match. Up until this point, freaking Jon Stewart came out with a chair and he blasted Cena with it to help Rollins, his enemy, retain the title and win the US Championship. Oh, why couldn't they have him win it clean? It really would have been a sight to see Seth Rollins win the title clean. Nonetheless, Rollins was still Seth 2 belts due to the victory. Also, that week was crazy. KO Balor, Sasha Bayley. This match, despite that ending, was a classic. And as for John Cena, he got his rematch the following month at Night of Champions. He exploited a loophole in the Night of Champions rule to get the title match. Seth was, just like Drake in 2015, he was going back to back. Cena and then Sting. As for the rematch, sublime. It seemed like Rollins was holding back, and in kayfabe, rightfully so. I mean, he had another match immediately afterwards. It delivered, but it wasn't on the same level of SummerSlam. But it didn't matter though. I was entertained and the result was clear. Cena was winning this one, and that's what happened. What this meant was that the US Open Challenge was back. Seth failed to recapture the title the next night and he would get one more chance, but before he did, Xavier Woods of the New Day got the opportunity to win the title. At this point, the New Day were probably the hottest they've ever been. They had just brought that trumpet, and overall they were really hilarious. You know, trumpet sounds, the who, everything was entertaining. He failed to win it due to interference from Big E and Kofi, and as for Seth, he got his chance inside a steel cage at MSG. This one was once again good, but I'd say it's the weakest match they had. Cena and Seth, though, they showed that they had great chemistry in 2014 and 15. This time, though, it was Rollins who had the match won, but Kane came out, and the champion, the WWE champion, was too scared to jump off. So he went back in there and he attempted a frog splash, but no one was home, and Cena hit the AA for the victory. Cena's next challenger, Big E, initially was going to be Dolph Ziggler, but the New Day attacked him, and they decided to take up the opportunity. The match itself wasn't memorable, but I do remember the New Day ending Raw on top. They destroyed Ziggler, Cena, and the Dudley Boys to end the show on top. Obviously, Cena won. Next challenger, Dolph Ziggler. This one, fun. I enjoyed it, and I remember thinking that maybe WWE was going to pull the trigger on him once again. Ziggler tried using some dirty tactics to win, but Cena once again caught him off guard with the AA. For this one, though, I believe it took Cena one AA to win this match. Now it was time to focus on Hell in a Cell. Cena had an open challenge on pay-per-view, which was a first, and as for his opponent, it was Alberto Del Rio. What the hell? I remember hearing some rumors that Cena was going on a hiatus to film some stuff, I believe. I also heard some stuff about Del Rio, but still, this was weird. JBL mentioned that Del Rio's Mexico's greatest export as expected, and the match itself, it ended in 8 minutes. The action wasn't bad, it was decent, and in a way, it wasn't exactly shocking, but it was weird seeing Cena losing clean in under 10 minutes. Some fans were stunned at the result, and at this point, WWE, all they had to do was follow up. It didn't matter who won the title. All that matters was that the rub the guy was going to get from the win should make that person a big deal. And Del Rio was a big deal following this for 1 week. Seriously though, looking back at the US Open Challenge, I believe there were 3 men that could have greatly benefited from beating Cena at Hell in a Cell. Kevin Owens, Cesaro, and Rusev. Imagine the guy that Cena beat for the title in the first place beats him for the title to end all of it. This run was pretty memorable. I enjoyed most of the matches. I do wish Kevin Owens beat him initially, but hey, it is what it is. Rusev, unfortunately, he was buried in my eyes. I felt like this title run came at the expense of Rusev, and that's just unfortunate. But like I said, the matches were good. John Cena, like, he added so many moves to his moveset, and he reinvented himself as an in-ring performer, basically. So yeah, what do you guys think of this title reign? Comment down below. And that's it for this video. Make sure you hit a springboard stunner on the like button, and perhaps an AA on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out. Yes.